and W. At some point, I'll figure out what the R stands for. He's Luke Jones, Baltimore Luke out on Twitter, and every year we come to the Super Bowl, Luke, and we arrive, we set up here on Radio Row. Mm-hmm. Nobody's here yet but us, and Tom Brady's over the left shoulder and Matt Ryan over the right, and we get here, and it's always Pro Bowl Sunday, and every year
or Royal Rumble Sunday. That's how I like to think of it.
Yeah, you have disappeared many years, right, to try to find Royal Rumble.
Right.
Was there? I mean, did you search the internet trying
to?
No.
I just followed it on Twitter.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
But we watched the Pro Bowl, you and I, and every year we watch it together now.
Watched.
Yeah, and I almost felt like we should have gone Facebook Live in the middle of the Pro Bowl as a companion Beavis and Butthead guide to
You mean when I dozed off at the end of the first half or whatever it was?
Yeah, I came in. I'm like, I stepped out to talk to my wife, and I said, keep an eye on the Pro Bowl. And don't let anything – I mean, don't let Justin Tucker –
I gave you one of these?
Yeah, I said don't let Kyle Juszczyk score a touchdown. Don't let Eric Weddle, have a pick six and make a big play. And, we're not on this thing from Orlando. But, boy, it's
terrible.
It's terrible.
And this was actually a better game than it's been in recent years. You even commented a few times as we were watching.
Well, it turned into like a joke, right? It turned into like a video game kind of thing at one point.
But the score was – more indicative of a real football game, right. And they kind of played hard at the end. It's and that's no different than what we've seen in the past. I mean, these guys. I think the winner got 61,000.
Loser gets
losers
30.
Get 30,000.
Well, they were playing hard.
So it basically becomes an NBA game where the final 5 minutes, everyone's playing as hard as they possibly can.
Dude, they were playing so hard that Jimmy Graham almost got in a fight.
Right. It did get a little chippy at the end, but the game's terrible. It's awful. No one wants to play in it. The Ravens ended up having 7 guys selected to the game, including Jeremy Zuda, who, look, even if we've been too hard on Jeremy Zuda, I don't think you're going to find anyone out there who thought he was actually deserving of being a Pro Bowl alternate. But it's reflective of the fact that no one wants to play in this game. And it's just it needs to go away. The honor is fine. Keep that. Players can still talk about that.
So
Agents can still talk about that.
It needs to go away. For years and years, we talked about, is there some way to make it better? No. But they've tried that. Like a couple years ago, we were in Arizona. They're wearing these Robo-Man outfits.
The fantasy football draft.
And Deion Sanders is running around being an idiot on the sidelines.
Michael Irvin.
I think Snoop coached the team or something. But, I mean, it turned into a joke of a game, like a softball game, like a celebrity
that
softball.
Completely.
I mean, it really felt that way.
But they were still playing real football in terms of equipment and guys being at a higher risk of injury and everything.
Exposed.
I commend them for trying that. It clearly didn't work. I think going back to the AFC, NFC format is better, but we're still splitting hairs here over the big issue that no one cares about this game. And at some point, I understand money. I understand television ratings. I understand that ESPN still views that as a profitable program that they put on as opposed to a rerun of 30 for 30 or whatever. But common sense needs to prevail at some point. And, as Tyler Eifert this past year, who got hurt in the Pro Bowl last year, ended up missing the first half of the season with that ankle.
Well, and then, I'm watching the game, and, my relationship with these coaches and their philosophies and how they feel – Jeremy Zuda and DeCastro are protecting Andy Dalton,
right,
who was getting annihilated, and running for his life. And some guys take it a little more seriously than others. I mean, Bennett, after every sack, he's up flexing and doing his – and I'm thinking to myself, how could Marvin want – I don't want Joe Flacco going to – as much flack as we give Flacco about not being a Pro Bowl quarterback, do you really want Joe Flacco out there running around throwing footballs in Orlando on Sunday? No. You
don't want anyone out there. That's why the game itself needs to disappear. Keep the honor. If you want to have it in a different city, have a big gala, tie charities into it.
Sign autographs.
Have opportunities for fans to do meet and greets and autographs and all kinds of different stuff. If you want to do some,
have a dinner,
have a Madden tournament, have skills competition. I think that's one element that they did add this year that I think is a step in the right direction.
If you
want to do some activity, actually, but the game, the honor I'm fine with. And then the honor becomes, it swings back to where it used to be, where it was more of an honor because now you're not having 120 players tied to the game because so many guys have pulled out because of either being in the Super Bowl or being hurt or whatever. So then it becomes those original rosters that they announce, December 22nd or whatever it is every year, week 16. So that honor is preserved a little bit better, and then you don't put these guys at risk. It's we'll probably talk this. We've had the same conversation.
We'll be having it in Minnesota
This
next
is
year.
my 6th Super Bowl. The conversation's been going on longer than that. But I think the funny thing was I saw the comment. I don't know if it was Facebook or Twitter. I can't remember who said it, but someone had made the comment. Think back to, and we've all complained about Major League Baseball at the All-Star Game with home field advantage being determined by the winner of the All-Star Game, which is finally changing now for the better. But at the same time, as much as everyone complained about that game,
they were trying to add meaning to it, right? You're trying to add significance to something that's not significant, other than the honor itself.
Okay, but you say that. Give me your top 10 All-Star Game memories in Major League Baseball. You can give me 10 memories really easily. Give me 5 Pro Bowl memories. You're going to struggle to come up with 5 that are
5.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't.
I remember one year Randy Moss went nuts. That was probably his 3rd year, something like that.
But that's what the game was. The game was throw the bomb, right? Literally.
But my point being, as much as we have beaten up Major League Baseball for the home field advantage thing, and look, I didn't like that either. At the same time, that game was always – it had meaning. The Pro Bowls never had any meaning for me. And I'm 33 years old. I've never looked at the Pro Bowl in nearly the same light that I've looked at Major League Baseball at the All-Star Game. And I get it. You could say, well, you're a bigger baseball fan. No, you can't play fake football. It doesn't work.
Well, some sports lend itself to it. Basketball, I'm looking at an ad right now for the NBA All-Star Game, and it looks like it's in New Orleans this year. So
the way baseball is played, it's conducive to having an exhibition game that's still entertaining, that's still very closely replicated, other than the fact that no pitcher is going to go more than an inning or two. Beyond that, baseball's not the high energy, all the time.
Well, they would always call it a
showcase,
right? And it is.
But it feels more like real baseball when you watch it. You turn it on, it feels like a real baseball game. You watch the Pro Bowl, it doesn't feel like real football. Just like we talk about
hockey,
the preseason, a preseason football. Now, at least the preseason has some purpose in getting ready for a season. There's something to that. You do have to get those reps, and yes, you do have to expose guys to some injuries. It's going to happen. It's inevitable.
And guys are playing hard.
But the Pro
for
Bowl,
jobs.
The Pro Bowl, what is the purpose of playing the game? No one really likes to watch it. Now, they did have a pretty nice crowd in Orlando compared to what they've had in Hawaii, and we talked about that in Arizona a couple years ago.
I thought it looked very traditional to me, right? So, the last couple of years, sort of the wackiness of the gray and, day glow helmets and all that, and different jerseys and
They've
all that.
They've gotten back to it only
it's
being
red, it's blue, they're selling some stuff. Some guys are running around.
The
score was representative.
The last few years, it was an over-the-top joke. It's back to just being a joke now.
Yeah.
It's the last few years, it wasn't just a joke. They were embarrassing themselves with while I'll commend them on trying to do something different, it did not work. It just did not work. No one, if you're a Ravens fan wanting to tune in to watch however many players are in the game, you don't want to see these guys on, because you don't even know what team they're on. Oh, where is Justin Forsett? Which team is Doomerville on?
Wearing the real helmets.
We were talking about that a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That's just, so I like the AFC, NFC thing better than the format they've tried, but it doesn't mean the game's, the game still stinks. It's terrible.
Luke Jones, I'm Nestor. We're here at
Who won the Royal Rumble? That's what I want to know. Randy Orton, by the way.
Well, while we're on the All-Star thing, and I'm just throwing this in, I'm an NHL fan. I'm a Caps fan. I like hockey. I went to I covered an NHL All-Star game.
Can you explain that format to me?
No,
me not being a hockey guy at all.
No, I can't. No, I'm not interested in it. So, my wife watched it on Sunday, and she said to me, I didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, Crosby and Ovechkin are on the Metropolitan, and they're playing these pickup games.
They played mini games, right?
They play mini games. I said it's sort of like scoring Ryder Cup in golf or the match play. I don't really even understand it, and I'm not going to put that much effort into understanding it for a day. It's like what's these goofy movies like Will Ferrell, the dodgeball, just making rules up like we used to in the backyard. Like, I'm not into making up the rules. I'll just wait for the Caps to play on Tuesday night and watch a real game.
Right.
That's how I feel about that. I mean, the NHL All-Star Game was in L.A. I don't know anything about it. I don't know who won. I don't care.
Right.
And so if I'm a hockey fan and you're flying Ovechkin and Holtby in the middle of the season across the country where they might get hurt, right?
Sure.
I don't get it. I do get it because they're putting flags up and they're doing all the stuff that they're doing here to make money.
Sure.
And they're selling tickets and somebody will come out and buy it and it's over with and they get on
We
with
all
themselves.
understand they still make money. Like, no one's saying that it's a matter of where do you draw the line.
Well, that's the shame of it. That's the shame of it.
Because at the same time, as much as we've talked about the preseason, they could add hypothetically, they could go back to the way it was 30 years ago, 35 years ago and play 6 preseason games. They'd make more money. They would find enough people to buy those 2,
and they could justify it in some way.
And they could justify it some way. But we all know that would be an absolute sham. That would be a complete slap in the face to the integrity and maintaining this idea that you care about player safety. So you can always say, oh, well, it's a business. It's about making money. At some point, some ethics do have to come into it. Some common sense has to come into it. And
really?
I feel the Pro Bowl at this point, we've already spent too long talking about it because we know it's going to end up just continuing to be this way. And look, was this Pro Bowl better than the recent years? Maybe.
You know what's amazing, though?
Haphazard way I watch it.
Just on a personal level to see Kyle Juszczyk out there running around.
Yeah.
When
he ended up having, 3 carries? I think he had 5 all year for the Ravens, including the touchdown,
But
of course,
I guess my point would be, and he doesn't do a lot of media, and it's not like he's in my phone and I'm going to call him and say, why did you play in the game? And I'm sure his answer was, well, it's an honor, and I wanted to go do it or whatever. And I'm thinking, dude, if you ripped up your knee,
I think it's an honor the first time you do it. Like, for him, that was his first time.
Sure.
I bet if he made the next 5, if you got him away from the cameras, away from microphone, off the record, just having a drink with him and saying, Kyle, why are you playing in this game? He'd kind of say, well, the league behind
he's a Harvard guy.
The league behind closed doors really wants us to play, and I don't really want to at this point.
But go a guy playing for a contract that's a nerve-wracking thing for me, for him, for his family, knowing what happened to Dennis Pitta and what can happen in these games. So it's one thing to have been paid; it's another thing to be on Zach Orr.
I was just going to say, look at what's happened with Zach Orr.
Sure.
I mean, a guy who didn't the injury itself that he suffered against Pittsburgh was not what is forcing his retirement. It was what they discovered in the process of checking that out. It's a very short timeline for most football players. For every Ray Lewis, there are, hundreds of guys who have careers way, way shorter than that.
Way shorter
a year
than
or
Zach
2.
Orr.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, Zach Orr at least played 3 years and did make a little bit of money. Some guys get hurt as a rookie free agent, and that maybe the team helps you with some medical expenses, and that's it. It's over. So it really is amazing to me. I mean, I guess it's not because we always talk about the money, but we spend so much time talking about concussions and guys with serious injuries and what it does to teams, and seeing Tyler Eifert last year for the Bengals getting hurt with the ankle and ends up missing the beginning of the season. You see how their season went, and I think if he was healthy from the start,
it would have been better.
Might have been a different season for the Bengals.
They would have been a better team.
They might have been in the hunt come week 14. But it's just, but we just do this, and it's one of those things that really just feels like, why are we continuing to do this? What is the purpose? I get it. And you want an all-star.
I was entertained.
All-star
it's
honor.
there for me to make fun of every year, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't all that entertained. I wanted to see Justin Tucker try an actual and stop with the practice field goal hype. Look, I know he made a 75-yarder. Who was the NFC kicker? Made a 76-yarder in practice. I want to see that. I want to see a long field goal in a real game.
Balls were juiced, just like they are in the.
Well, I'm not even saying that.
Run derby.
But
I'll talk to Tucker. Tucker will admit it.
But we're talking about this in practice. There's no rush. There's no line. There's a tee holding it up. It's not really. It's practice. I don't care about that. Chris Davis could take.
You really wanted him to kick a 70-yarder.
I want to see him try a 64-65-yarder.
So if he made one in a Pro Bowl environment, does that make it a legitimate field goal to you?
More so than talking about it in practice. And look, I'm not picking on him. All kickers do this kind of stuff.
We're talking about the Pro Bowl, incidentally.
but his longest field goal he tried was a 38-yarder. You know, that's like the old extra point for him.
It is an extra point.
I
Right?
mean, it's ridiculous. So, you know, I don't care.
Okay.
I wanted to see a long kick. I will say this. I'll commend Andy Reid. When they tried the fake field goal, they actually had Justin Tucker line up as a right-footed kicker.
So this is where, like, I get a little weird with you, Luke. So you don't care about the Pro Bowl because it's fake, and yet you were willing to walk, 12 blocks in downtown Houston to go see the Royal Rumble. If I would have told you, hey, there's a bar, it's on, go over there, there's a television, it's free.
Because that's intended to be that way. They don't sit down and talk about the Pro Bowl saying, "Oh, let's have a fake football game." They know it is. They don't, but they're not trying to. They're trying to make it seem like, oh, the AFC NFC rivalry is back.
But there is no script
Give me
for
a
it,
break.
at least. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, I love pro wrestling.
What happened in the Royal Rumble? Do you even know?
Randy Orton won. Roman Reigns was cleaning house, and everyone was, wrestling fans were cringing.
I don't know who these people are, but okay.
Roman Reigns is the guy that they want to be the next John Cena, the next franchise, the next
Randy
face
Orton,
of
was his father Cowboy Bob?
Bob, yeah. With the cast.
See, I knew that.
With
That's
the cast,
pretty good.
yeah.
All right. Yeah,
it had the cast for 5 straight years. But, Randy Orton ended up winning, and we'll see how it all plays out. There are many different ways they could go.
If it was wrestling and happened in the 70s or early 80s, like Cowboy Bob Orton, I'm down with that.
Yeah.
He probably, didn't he
Cowboy
wrestle with Dirty Dick Murdoch and Dusty Ray? He was in that era, right?
Yeah. And then in the mid-'80s, he's with Roddy Piper.
At the end, but
Yeah.
he was he Mid-South or he was?
I can't remember.
He came from Texas, didn't he? Wasn't he
I'm
part of the circuit down
think
here?
so.
I think
I
the
think
Von
so.
Erich circuit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be
and all that.
honest. I was always a WWF guy, and I
Get the F out.
I don't remember anything before the mid-'80s because I was born in '83. But I started watching it when I was 2-3 years old. But I was always always a WWF guy.
Right.
I knew about Ric Flair. I knew about the Road
Gordon
Warriors.
Soley and the Georgia Championship Wrestling circuit.
That's fair. I have plenty of respect for it. I've gotten to.
That was more exotic to me.
I've gotten to
Austin
read
Idol
more
and the
about
Junkyard Dog were more
Oh,
exotic.
I love JYD. Thump. had the chain. I loved it.
The people on Facebook Live and WNST TV now can see how goofy we are. Because on
Oh, yeah.
radio you can't.
No, they're actually interested now. They want to hear about this.
Tell me about JYD.
They're like, stop talking
Talk
about the Pro Bowl. My goodness.
Then the NHL All-Star
Like you
game.
guys are sports
Royal Rumble's
guys.
real. What's WrestleMania this year? What's going to happen?
It's
Where is it, by the way?
It is in where is
Have to
it?
Google
Orlando, I think. I think it's Orlando.
By the way, and I'm going to ask this question.
Let me double check on that. I should know that.
I'm going to Google this because I'm literally fascinated with why Orlando has a stadium. What's the name of the stadium now?
It's what, Camping Life Stadium? It's
Camping?
It's Citrus Bowl. It was what they.
But why was
it up
it built? Like I'm like coming from Baltimore and having had this issue. Like, was it built by like Walt Disney? I mean, I just don't know. Like, because they never really tried to get a team, an NFL team that I'm aware of. Right? Oh wow, construction began in 1936.
Yeah, that's a really old stadium that I think's been refurbished.
Under
and,
FDR in the Depression.
New coats of paint and all that. They renovated a couple years ago, I think.
It opened in 1914. The Tangerine Bowl, 2,000 seats were added in 1952. So this was built like it's like asking why the Hershey Park Stadium was built.
It's just the way it is.
It didn't cost that much. It was just a slab.
Right.
But I remember that in 1974 because I was alive in 74. I remember the World Football League. You know, the World Football League, they had the funny pants.
Right.
They wore and the whole at one point because I collected baseball cards and oddities, sports oddities, a whole bunch of unused Hawaii, whatever the team was, unused tickets. Came into my possession as like a collector's item. So I had these WFL tickets, and there was no internet, so you had to like get a book to figure out like what that was about,
right.
But I remember the WFL. So I remembered Orlando had one of those. The Orlando did McMahon had a team there, right? The XFL. Orlando Rage played there in 2001, and the USFL, the Renegades. I do remember that.
Right.
So there were a couple like sort of fake football leagues, but when I see that stadium there and I see it all dressed up,
the lingerie
now,
football league as well.
Well, you are on Wikipedia here. The Orlando Fantasy.
Yeah. They've had a a laundry list of
Walt
random
Disney approves of that.
Random teams there.
They played 7 NFL preseason games there back in the day, back in the 90s.
Right.
There was one in the 70s, too. No, but I see that stadium, and I'm like.
But, yeah, they're hosting WrestleMania this year.
It wasn't built for college football. It wasn't built for the NFL. They never tried. I'm just like, did Walt Disney put some money? Probably Walt Disney refurbished it for the Tangerine Bowl in 1969 when they were going to open Epcot or whatever,
they've thrown new coats of paint on that.
It's just weird. I mean, of all the places for them to have a Pro Bowl, it's 40 degrees and raining sideways on Sunday morning there.
There's the two different and clearly the big question is the game staying in Hawaii. And, we've seen it now where they've done it like in Phoenix a couple years ago or Arizona a couple years ago where they hold it at the site of the Super Bowl just the previous Sunday. That has a –
I would think the L.A. Stadium's going to be –
we talked about that. There was actually some vibe for that. There actually was.
Phoenix was
so you have
excited about it.
Or, this isn't going to be something where teams are going to bid for the Pro Bowl. But if you have it in a city like Orlando, which does not have the NFL, but it's a destination city, obviously with Disney World. I mean, we saw the pictures on social media this past week. Eric Weddle taking his kids to Disney World and Justin Tucker going with his wife to Disney World. So, you have some of that. So there is some appeal for, one, the players, if they're not going to take a vacation to Hawaii.
And if they have a wife and kids.
That they can bring their family, and there's something to do there besides just a beach or besides just some warm weather. And for fans who want to attend, they'll get people in Orlando, and they'll get some people who are going to say, all right.
But they still shouldn't play.
I'm going to go to well, I agree. I'm trying to make a case for it at this point.
Well, you said that the WrestleMania's in Orlando, too. But it's not at the stadium. It's not outside, right?
It's outside. Yeah, they've been doing that for a while. They had it at MetLife Stadium.
See, I remember they used to go to the Pontiac Silverdome, and they used to.
They'll still do that, but they've been having it.
They've had it here, right? The Reliance Stadium here, the NRG, whatever that was calling it this week.
Yeah,
they've had it here.
Yeah, I mean they've had it at big venue. They don't have it at Madison Square Garden anymore. I mean, it's
they have to sell
stadiums, and they've been doing outdoor stadiums.
So it's in the stadium where the Pro Bowl was.
Yes, they had it in.
I'm not out of line talking about the history of the stadium because I really was sort of fascinated as to why.
Yeah,
they have a stadium. Yeah,
I mean that's the thing. You have a big stadium. You can have concerts. You can have WrestleMania. You can do those.
Did the Terps ever play a bowl game there, or was that in Tampa? They played in Blockbuster. Didn't they play in the Citrus Bowl one year?
I'd have to off the top of my head. I don't remember.
I will. I'll look that up. But I mean, they were talking about worthless football games, right?
What, most of the bowl games?
The 6-5 Boston College Eagles taking on the 6-5 Maryland Terps in Detroit.
Go to lovely Detroit
the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
At 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
That was a winner.
He is Luke Jones. I am Nestor. Dan Shaughnessy walking by. Hey, I hear your team's in it again. Yeah, I know. What are you going to do?
Yeah, it's that time.
Here I am again.
It's that time of year again.
Yeah. What'd they do to cheat this year? We'll find out. I'm going to get to the bottom of that. Buy a Toyota Audio Vault is here 24 hours a day for you. You can find me nasty at WNST.net, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and perhaps because I'm an amputee, playing in the amputee game with Snoop Dogg. I'm going to get with BJ Ganem later in the week. We're going to find out. There is a chance I'm going to play in the flag football. Speaking of the Pro Bowl.
The Pro Bowl.
My own Pro Bowl.
In your own mind.
Dude, if I blow an ACL.
Everyone else in the game's good. And
I have to limp in New Zealand seeing Bruce Springsteen 4 weeks from now, I'm going to be pissed.
Dude, I'm not taking you to the hospital. Just don't get hurt.
I'm going to blame Snoop Dogg. But I hear Snoop has special medicine these days, right? I mean, that could.
I've heard that about him.
Me. Yeah, I've heard that about him. What else we got going on? And just a bunch of football players, right?
Football. Yeah.
Just football. All right, we're at the Super Bowl. It's
2 weeks from spring training, by the way.
Pitchers and catchers reporting.
That's what I'm thinking. I go to Fan Fest, and I'm all ready for baseball, and then I have to come to the Super Bowl and talk about a game that I really don't care all that much about. I'll watch it. Don't get me wrong.
I'm reporting to Noosa Heads Beach in Queensland, Australia for Bruce Springsteen. That's where I'm reporting. We are reporting here in Houston. We're at Super Bowl 51. He's Luke. I'm Nestor. We're going to have some fun this week. We're going to try. I'm going to wear my Ravens hat. I've already sung with Marcus Allen.
That was fun. He was very –
For two of you.
Oh, we bonded.
Yeah, you and Marcus are down now. You're always welcome in SoCal now.
I love those Kansas City Chiefs teams that he was on with Joe Montana at the very.
So did I.
Those two guys at the end of their careers,
absolutely.
still playing at a high level too.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the guy Dawson missing the field goal, right? Or Lynn Elliott, right?
Yeah.
Lynn Elliott, not Dawson. I'm thinking Lenny Dawson. God.
I was going to say that was.
No, there was a Dawson that was a kicker, Phil Dawson. I just.
Yeah.
Okay. You done?
I'm done.
Okay. He is Baltimore Luke. Luke at WNST.net reaches him. Nasty at WNST.net reaches me. Don't forget our morning newspaper ships to you at 7 a.m. each and every morning. It's all brought to you by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Still $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life. If there's any breaking news this week from the Orioles, and I've got an Oriole topic we're going to discuss a little later on judging Dan Duquette versus Ozzie Newsome over the last 5 years, okay? So we're going to do that at some point when we get bored around here. But it's a Super Bowl. We won't be bored. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.